girlfriend. We'll put it in the trailer. You're gonna be some serious
it's
trouble.
absolutely fine.
It's like Valentine's Day yesterday, and you're throwing under the bus. Interesting. No, but it does. It sounds like a little bit of a prison.
Yeah.
You know, not being able to take your foot off the pedal at all without feeling anxious.
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
That means that I wake up, I'm fucking thankful for what I've got and what I've built and who I'm around, and like my brother and my family, and like I enjoy being able to just do what I want to do, and that is the work, I guess, most of the time.
You know, when people talk about work-life balance, what's your honest opinion of that?
Bullshit. If you actually want to build something that's going to stand the test of time and make you very successful and rich and happy and bring other people with you, it's going to take everything. I fully believe that. I don't think you can half-ass it. I don't think it can be a side project, and I don't think it can be something that's just 3 hours a day. I think you've got to go fully into it to become like high-level achiever, like actually a winner.
What are you willing to sacrifice for that?
Everything, whatever it takes. Why not? I'm already into it now, so I've got to go full on. Look, Kobe Bryant wasn't doing 3 throws at fucking 3 a.m. for no reason. You got to be the best. You got to do everything, right?
I always talk about the cost that comes with that and the sacrifice. Are you willing to sacrifice you not having a family yourself?
For the time being, yeah. Maybe later on in life when it becomes something that I can step aside from even more, then yeah.
You're going to want to step aside from it because you're getting anxiety doing 4-hour dates. How are you going to
I am, but I'm learning. I'm starting to do it. Like
really?
I said, yeah.
You've seen progress in that regard?
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's just about building that muscle of understanding you can do other things and realizing it's not going to come crashing down if you take your foot off the brake for a second, but still knowing that you're giving it your all when you are in it.
Is there a point where I always think about Burberry as an example, the Burberry story of how they kind of went out of fashion because they became too popular. Mm-hmm. What I'm trying to say is like Burberry was aspirational. So lots of people start wearing it. Some less aspirational people start wearing it.
Yeah.
People start knocking it off and selling it for super cheap in markets. Then eventually it's no longer aspirational,
right? Because
it got so popular that it becomes uncool. Do you worry about that as a risk factor for Represent?
So that's like a life cycle, right? And that comes every couple of years or every 7 years, whatever it may be in the industry. But there's always different markets to push and pull on. Also, like Represent is so small in terms of size compared to Burberry. At the moment, we have a very core customer base where we kind of can identify them and we know where they are and what they're doing. And until that goes mainstream, which I think usually happens probably at like 250, 300 million revenue. It's not a worry as such at the moment. I used to worry about it a lot, but like when Spenny came in, who's handling a $500 million business, he's like, we're barely touching the sides. 20% of our revenues in the US, that's only $20 million. It could sell $20 million out of LA and not see the product for the next 6 months. You wouldn't even see someone wearing it. So at this point, no, but it is something that we'll always think about, and you've always got to limit your distribution and make sure you're selling it in the right places. And look, we are still like a luxury brand. We're in the best stores in the world. Like it's not like you can walk into a PacSun and pick us up. So it's still not a mainstream brand and it's expensive.
I was wondering if that's less of a threat on the 24/7 side of things, where it's more about like utility and less about like fashion, because you know everyone wears Nike, and no one's like, oh my god, I'm not wearing Nike because they're wearing, you know. Yeah,
biggest sportswear brand in the world, and how are they able to tier a Travis Scott or a Virgil Abloh Jordan 1 that's going for $5,000, but they're still selling tracksuits at $20, and you can still see everyone in Gold's Gym to everyone in fucking Equinox wearing it. So there's just tiers to everything, right? There's a trickle down system with everything.
I wonder if is that because it's like more of a utility product than a fashion product?
I think so with Nike, yeah, definitely.
Because there's not really like a fashion brand that's able to sell like a $20 item and then like a...
Ralph Lauren.
Oh, really? Do they sell cheap and expensive stuff?
Well, if you look at Ralph Lauren, it looks amazing from the outside, and they have all these beautiful stores in like the best spots in London and New York and LA, and most of their revenue is done through outlet. at $20 polos or $15 polos, 60% of their sales is a polo top, which I'm not exactly sure on, but that's what I hear. So there's ways you can, I guess, smoke and mirror it, disguise things and do other things. But for us, like, we're pretty solid on where we want to be in terms of the marketplace and the price points, and we'll grow that way rather than having to tier things to an extent.
What are the most important, because I think most people will be listening to this conversation in essence because they want to know how you've done what you've done. You know, they want to know like the transferable principles behind how it's possible to scale a very successful business that also is unique because it's quite a cult business. You've got like an incredibly cultish brand. You know, you do like run clubs and almost 1,000 people will show up on the street corner, or you drop something and you sell thousands in minutes.
Yeah.
What are those principles that you would maybe say to a 18-year-old George, or to that kid in your DMs that's asking for the principles that only you could have learned in hindsight?
I think it's about creating the DNA of what the brand is and sticking to that, not veering off in different directions and changing everything up every so often based on trends. So I think it's about holding a DNA, whether that's through thick and thin. So whether it's not right for that time or it is right for that time, there'll always be life cycles in fashion and things will go out and in fashion. But if you can kind of cultivate the look that you want, that's first and foremost what it is. Like, if you look at 247 and Represent, 247 looks like Represent, but it's activewear. It's not like it's a whole different thing that looks like Lululemon. Like, it still looks like Represent. So I think making sure the DNA in the brand is very like visible.
Where does the DNA come from?
Just personal preference, what we like to wear, what I feel like I look good in, what Mike feels like he looks good in, what the team love, and just building that over time, step by step, just creating products that we feel like is either missing or we just want for ourselves to wear.
And what would you say about hard work as a principle?
I think it's everything. I really do think it's everything. I meet a lot of people, especially out here, that have their little hands in different businesses, lots of different pies, but don't work hard at any of them, and none of them really ever succeed, or they only own 1% when you find out they've sold the business. So I think it's all about just like going all in on something that you own. I think it's hard if you were just a small minority shareholder in something like that, then is not really your passion, it's someone else's, or it's a big group of people's.
But when people think about hard work, they, you know, and people advise someone and say you have to work hard if you want to be successful, people say, oh, that's toxic.
Yeah, don't care. What's toxic? That word is just makes no sense.
You're going to encourage people to be burnt out.
Yeah, I think you can come out the other side of burnt out. Like, the more you do right, the more you can do. So if you're working hard at something and you're starting to feel like it's getting a bit too much, the pressure's a bit too much, you carry on doing it, you're going to come out of it. It's not like you're just going to end. Nothing ends. You just figure out different ways to actually make it successful, or something will work and you'll be like, oh fuck, then your energy goes back up and you start going down there and it works. I don't know. I think there's a lot of negativity around working hard, and I don't like that.
There's going to be a kid listening right now that's like 18, 16, and they just can't find the motivation, whatever that means. They can't find the motivation to get up and go to the gym. They've got some idea, but it's still on the sofa that they had it on. Like, what do you say to that young man or woman is the first thing to get the wheels in motion?
Fuck motivation. I don't have motivation a lot of time. It's actually more about discipline. It's about just getting it done. Get up and get it done. Like, with anything, with work, with working out, with creating a product, with building a brand, with relationships, whatever. It's discipline over motivation. Motivation's a small thing that can last 2 minutes or an hour. Motivation can come from listening to a song on your iPod. If you've got discipline, you're willing to do it every single day of your life, and knowing that it's going to take so long to do it, you just get up and do it. You don't even think about motivation.
And what is discipline then? Discipline is an instruction manual? Like, what is discipline to you?
Yeah, I guess it is an instruction manual. I guess it's a list of things that you must do for yourself to become what you want to be. And I guess it's the deciding factor on whether you're going to do something or not.
And it goes back to what you said about like, you drew a picture of yourself, of what you wanted to look like, but you also wrote out like a set of principles or values that you wanted to embody.
Yeah.
And then you're living your life by that as opposed to how you feel every day.
Yeah. Yeah. When you put it that way, that's what it is.
And eventually
it becomes part of them. It becomes a muscle, right? And you grow that muscle, and you constantly like breaking it down and regrowing it, and then principles just become your life. You know, they say like habits, what is it? Thoughts become habits, and then habits become principles, and that becomes you as a person.
A lot of people just don't think they're moldable. That goes back to what we were saying earlier about like, we just don't think that we can change ourselves.
Yeah.
But you're evidence of that, really remarkable evidence of that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that are. There's so many inspiring stories out there on social media and in books and podcasts and stuff, that all these people that have completely changed their lives. It just takes a lot of time and a lot of effort.
Are you confident?
I'm not going to lie. I still have like doubts about things a lot of the time, especially in business. But with myself, yeah, I'm confident.
What do you have doubts about in business?
Just like you said before, maybe one day the revenue stops. Maybe one day it gets too popular. Maybe one day something doesn't work out. Maybe one day a competitor comes up at the side of you and starts taking everything from you.
The key to growing a business is making sure that it's scalable. And this comes with integrating into the right platforms early in the game to support your growth. A platform that's helped me and my team to do this is Shopify, who I'm sure you know by now because they do sponsor this podcast. Shopify is a commerce platform revolutionizing millions of businesses worldwide. We recently launched our second version of the Diary of a CEO conversation cards on Shopify, which would not have been possible without Shopify. When I started podcasting, an online store was the furthest thing from my mind. But now, thanks to how simple it is to use the platform, it's made this whole process so unbelievably easy. It's actually the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms. If you guys haven't tried Shopify and you're business owners, go and try it now, because you can sign up for a $1 per month trial period just by heading to shopify.com/Bartlett, and you can get started for $1. What if Michael turned around and said, do you know what? I'm done. He just said, I just can't do this anymore. I'm going to just, I'm done.
I'd probably cry.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. And I'd just try and figure out what it is, and then try and get him back in.
He said, no, I'm done.
So, and just, that was it.
That was it.
Forever. It'd suck. It'd suck a lot. Because since school, we've been together doing this forever. So for him then not to be there, it'd be pretty shitty, because like, who are you doing it for then? Like, I'd fucking die for Mike. Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone said, I've got to kick you out of the business, but Mike stays, I'd go. Like, this isn't really for me. I guess it's for him. And it's like, it's kind of at that point where that can't happen. He enjoys it too much. We love doing this. So
it's interesting. That thought experiment, though, kind of illuminates much of the reason why you're doing it in the first place, because the first thing you said was, who am I doing it for then?
Yeah.
But if I'd asked you earlier who you're doing this for, I don't know if you would have said, I'm doing it for Mike.
No, I am. I'm doing it for Mike. I'm doing it for the team. I'm doing it for my family. Definitely.
But if the team leaves, you're still going to crack on.
Yeah, it's just a new team.
Yeah, but if Mike leaves?
If Mike leaves, I don't know if I carry on. That's so difficult to answer.
I had a business partner, and the reason I asked that question is I thought the same. I thought one day I played out my scenario that they quit, and I remember thinking to myself the exact same thing. Who am I doing this for then? Like, we started this together, so the mission is actually me and you getting to the finish line.
And you get excited when they get excited. Or like if Mike sends me a design that he's in love with, and I'm like, fucking hell, yeah, this is insane. And you just have that energy between you. If that wasn't there anymore, it would suck.
How important do you think having a co-founder is?
I think massively. I know earlier when you said you get lonely, like, I think that is a major block in loneliness, because he is always there.